The March 19th Fitchburg Commission Airport meeting. It's 6:05 p.m. I'm Commissioner Rich Liberatore, and I'm filling in for our Chair Clayton Raymond, who can't be here tonight. Before we start, I wish to introduce the commissioners at the meeting. To my far left is Commissioner Eric Takal. Next to Eric is Paul Hathaway. To my right is the airport manager, Peter Kettle. I want to thank FATV, who is doing the audio for this meeting tonight. To start, we're going to take the minutes to the previous month's meeting, and can we get a vote on those minutes? Or are there any questions or anything regarding to the minutes? Everything was good?
Motion to approve?
All right. Do you have a motion to?
Seconded.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Rich, you have to invite anybody that wants to speak for 2 minutes before.
Okay.
Off that piece of paper.
All right. If there's anyone who wants to speak about any of the items on the agenda, you have 2 minutes and you can speak now if you wish.
He's going to speak on the agenda when it gets there.
All right. Seeing none, we're going to go into action items. I believe all those are going to be addressed as we...
Within the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Peter. All right. Correspondence to the commission? None?
No correspondence.
Okay. And with us tonight via Zoom is Jackie Marks from Gale. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you. All right, Jackie, you got your update for us.
Yes, and I just wanted to say thank you again to Peter for printing out those updates and providing them to you this evening. Thanks again, Peter, for your help with that. Not too much of an update today, but I'll just kind of run quickly through the project. So on page 1, the design and permitting for main apron reconstruction, there's no update since the last meeting. So just continuing, to work on that project. But happy to take any questions, comments, concerns that any of you might have back to the engineers and get those things answered for you. Anyone have any questions about that?
Nope, I think we're good.
I have one, please. Is there any restrictions or modifications to the grants that are in the CIP, Jackie, or are we carrying on with the grants as they are in the CIP?
Let's see, hold on, sorry, Peter, I have to turn the volume up on my computer a little bit. Could you repeat the question? You're asking about restrictions.
Is there any effects to the grants that we currently have in the system?
We have not been notified of any impacts to any of the grants to date. We're just moving forward with the projects as they were listed on the CIP for this fiscal year. But if anything changes, we'll certainly make the commission and yourself aware of that as soon as possible.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, no other questions on the apron project. I'll move on to page 2. The design and installation of wildlife fencing. So the independent fee estimate was received for the project, and Gale's fee was within 10% of the independent fee estimate. That's FAA's recommended range is within that 10% is considered reasonable. So that gave the airport the ability to assist in preparing a record of negotiation and sending that over to FAA and Mass DOT. And the engineering contract is currently out there circulating for signatures. 95% plans and specifications were submitted to FAA and Mass DOT on the 3rd of March, and comments were received from FAA, Mass DOT, and the airport. So we're working through those comments and making any necessary changes. But if you have anything in addition, of course, please provide that to Mark or any of the other engineers working on the project. I know there was a meeting on March 13th between the agencies and the airport to talk about the limits of the fencing and the project funding availability. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that?
May I just comment again, please?
Sure.
The fencing itself was supposed to be designed, and all the actual action was to follow the existing fencing and just replace it by the 10-foot high. So it came in, and the FAA were a little bit surprised at the price. And to be honest, so was I, but I mean, that's what they asked for and that's what they got. So I did a little bit of investigation and found out that, you know, as you come down, you enter the gate 11, you go through, and then you've got the fence on the left-hand side. Yep. That fence is superfluous. It doesn't do anything. Sure. So I recommended through to Gale and also the FAA and Medstar that we don't put that or replace that fence. And basically it comes up to maybe 1/3 of the overall length of the fence.
Really?
Yes. I mean, it goes all the way down, it goes all the way through, it goes to Twin City, all the way through. So they've looked at that, and Mark and Andrew did a great job at Gale.
Great.
And that's now been proposed. So all we're getting is the periphery. And you know where the end of the old 20 taxiway went to the runway there?
Yep.
Instead of going all the way around the top, we're just going to go straight across there, because that part above there is going to be for non-aviation. So why protect that with the 10-foot fence?
Right.
So we took all that out as well. And if we go to, if you're looking out of the airport, to the right-hand side where you've got Big Tex trailers, we're not going to go all the way up to Big Tex trailers. We'll go to where the river comes like this, and then we're going to put a 200-foot spur down to the river to stop the deer from coming up that way. And it's a big improvement to as it was, because they could have come straight through where that spur is going to go. And I believe that's made a big difference to the financial aspects of the quote, Jackie, hasn't it? Apparently.
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
In that back section is still going to be a one straight shot where there was never a fencing. It actually, we were using the river as a buffer, I guess.
Right.
So that's going to go, I believe that's north to south, a straight fence. Now, Blueberry Lane, where we used to use that gate and we have
Cobbler Drive.
storage, that fencing is not going to be involved in this.
Oh, yeah, it is.
That's who?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Because that's where a lot of the deer come. They go through the old AKS place, jump over the fence, and they come through. That's where they all sort of migrate to.
Hopefully we won't find that these deer can jump over a 10-foot fence.
Unlikely.
You know.
10 foot's pretty tall.
They can get over 8, you know.
Oh, no, I've seen them go over 8.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, they can get over 8.
And yes, you're right, the western side, next to 3214, 100 foot from that is going to be a 10-foot fence all the way down that area, with a gate in there so that we can cut the grass on the other side.
I was going to say,
Okay.
we are adding maybe a couple extra gates into the fence system?
Well, no, just the current ones that are there, as well as the one, because we didn't have a fence going along
Right.
3214.
And on the
Now
back
we're going
section
to.
too, I thought we were putting a gate, that long run.
On Cobbler Drive,
Yeah.
there's going to be one there, but hopefully it's going to be electronic with a gate pass.
Right.
To make it better for access. Because we're putting 30 new hangars in there, remember?
Yes. Yep.
So, okay,
All right.
thanks, Jackie. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome. Any other questions or concerns, items that I can bring up with engineering on the fencing project, or does everyone feel comfortable?
Has the adapted plan been presented to the FAA and Medstar, or is that still pending?
The adapted plan. Peter, are you up to date? I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm not fully immersed in this project, so
It was actually sent out this morning.
Okay, good.
It was okay. Okay, I was, I was not physically in the office today, so I didn't get that update. So I apologize. Thank you, Peter.
Of course.
All right, hearing no other questions, the only other item on the agenda on page 3 of 3 is an update to the Medstar legal. I know that FAA authorized the final payment for their portion of that project. So that will, reimburse the city for that portion of the funding, which is the lion's share of the project. But we talked a little bit last meeting about how the FAA didn't have the additional $4,900 to reimburse the independent fee estimate, and that the airport would have to wait until entitlement funds became available, or Mass DOT had offered to provide an 80-20 grant on that portion of the project. So I know that Mass DOT agreed to that, and Gale is just working with the airport to get that project closed out. So basically what we're waiting for right now is for Mass DOT to actually issue that grant so that we can submit, the final invoicing and the payment request and everything else. So as soon as we get that in, we can get that submitted to them and get that additional money reimbursed to the city.
That closes that out, right, Jackie?
That's correct, yes.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, concerns, items that I can take back to the office and get answered for you?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, sounds good. I will thank you all for your time. I'll hang on, and if there are any other questions that I can help with, just feel free to, call me back in.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Jackie.
Thank you.
Alrighty. All right, moving on to new business, Rocking Horse Enterprises, LLC, the box hangar issue.
Yeah, the previous box hangar was 60 by 60, and it was going to be located between Twin City Air Motive and building number 2. But because the gentleman involved in the purchase or the build of that, together with Rockin Horse Enterprise, because Rockin Horse Enterprise are the construction engineer that are going to do it,
Right.
He's moving from a PC-12, and that hangar isn't big enough. Sorry, he's moving from a TBM to a PC-12, so he needs a bigger hangar. And it can't go into that location because it runs straight over the sewage, it runs straight over everything else. So having a discussion with Gale Associates, we decided the best place to put it would be between Nagel Aircraft and the Pilots Association hangar. It'll be 60 by 80. Nice acquisition for the airport and for the person involved. And basically, this is just information for you guys. If you've got any comments, if you don't want it there, just speak. And but I think it's the perfect space.
I think it's a great spot for it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that is logically the only thing you could really do there, and so it's a very good use of the space. And they have
Okay.
to watch their neighbors, though.
What's the size of the Fitchburg Pilots Association hangar?
It's 4,800 square feet.
So it's just going to be a tad
Yeah.
bigger there. And that, we weren't saving that spot for anybody in particular?
No.
Nothing for us?
No, well, yeah, we can have it, but we've got no money.
Well, no, I was just, I didn't know if we needed, we know that the area where we've been discussing having the restaurant is already kind of allocated for that particular spot.
Well, there was a previous person that wanted that, but because of the price and the increase in the steel, it
Mr.
totally went
Spinelli,
out of his
that's-
case. Yes,
that's right, that's
that was
what
where
you want. Okay,
Spinelli was
perfect.
going to go. So,
All right, thank you for reminding me on that one.
of course.
I like that alley as well. You could pull a Pilatus out and still not block access to Nagel.
Yeah, yeah.
Silver Wings,
It gives,
plenty of room.
it gives him space to put a few airplanes on the outside, a few tie-downs.
Well, he's already got 2 there,
All right.
and the one that you see in there, that's his second one. The other one is just in front of that.
Okay, so he's not approaching on...
No effect whatsoever.
Okay, so it looks good. All right, thank you, Peter. All right, nothing else in new business. We're going to old business. That's the Gerald P. Lombard. It's not the new naming of the airport. I think I brought that out with Peter. This is sponsored by Jeff Bean. It's renaming the airfield that we're really discussing.
It'll be Fitchburg Municipal Airport Lombard Field, which is a new name for the airport.
Okay.
But it's in abeyance at the moment. There's been some comments back to him, and he's withdrawn it for the time being until he's done further investigation.
Okay.
Okay?
He originally wanted us to wait a couple months. Are we still doing that, or is
Yeah,
it-
we're in the second month now, aren't we?
All right, so we're going to keep it on the table?
Yeah,
Okay,
until he advises otherwise.
all right. All right, perfect. Okay, item B, the Fitchburg Pilot Association, the land lease agreement.
This was really the chair's responsibility, and he
Yeah.
was going to have something to say tonight. Apologies, he's just left the hospital. He's on his way here. We don't know. We don't know. He's on his way here because we've got an executive session a little bit later. So apologies for that. So that'll have to be abated until next month.
All right,
All right?
all right, so we'll table the land lease agreement with the FPA for next month. Okay, item C, the RFP, non-aviation land lease, the restaurant.
We've had two very, very important meetings with two people that are very, very interested in actually putting a restaurant there. They've gone away to think about it because this is open until May to get, the best bang for the buck. And also, Paul, you know better than I do. When's the air extravaganza down in Florida?
Sun and Fun's the
Sun and
first week of
Fun.
April. I think it's the 1st and 2nd this year, 3rd and 4th.
Of April.
Yeah.
Okay,
Coming
so
up in 2 weeks.
that's going to be a big opportunity for us because all the papers that are going out there have the advert for the building of the restaurant here at Fitchburg.
Good.
And there'll be some big money down there, as you know.
Yep.
So, it's looking good at the moment.
Yep.
We just need to see the money where the interest was. So.
We had 3 other people interested. Did they make an appointment with you to come in?
Not yet.
No? Okay,
No,
so
not
they're
yet.
still pending.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
The two that you'd had meetings with, they operate local restaurants already?
One of them does. The other one has a restaurant in Milan Airport.
Oh, right.
He has one down in Florida.
Yeah.
And he wants to bring another one here because his intention is not only to have a restaurant, but also to supply to the air industry, the meals for,
Sure.
So he thinks it's an ideal position. It's easily located at Fitchburg. You've got direct contact straight through to Logan and Worcester. And in fact, when some of the commercial jets come in, of the 57 that come, they get food from Logan.
They get catering.
Yeah, they get catering from Logan. So
So he already is established in Florida. He's looking to branch out.
and Milan Airport as well, and Latte.
Catering would be a good thing to add to the airport's list of capabilities because it's obviously one of those things people look, if they're doing a technical stop for fuel,
Yeah.
say if they're coming from Florida, they're going to go over the pond. Fitchburg, maybe we have cheaper fuel, they stop, but they're going to need things like lav pumped. They're going to need things like catering, coffee. So these are important considerations. The more of those boxes we check, the better that you look for flight planning purposes. So.
When you have the discussions, I know I saw the introduction format that you had for restaurateurs in kind of increasing their interest in coming to Fitchburg. Do they give you a rough idea of what size building they're looking at, how many people they think they're going to accommodate? Or is this something that we have limited space, you only could make it just so big? I didn't know if that would ever be a deterrent to somebody coming in?
We have given them 19,000 square feet,
So
which
that's
is enormous.
more than enough.
Absolutely,
Okay.
more than enough.
All right.
And when they saw what we were going to charge them as a rent, they nearly fell off their seats because that just doesn't exist anywhere. But they do have to invest maybe $1 million, $2 million
Yeah, they
into
do
a building.
realize that they're responsible for the
So,
building.
and they were also surprised at the length of the duration of the lease. They said, this is fantastic. We can, if we want to retire in 10, 15 years' time, can we sublease it? I said, yes, sir, with the Commission's approval. So they were really pleased. We're just waiting now to see what their reactions is and their official RFP response. So,
Great, no, this is, like to get that moving along well, but we'll,
So will those responses to the RFP be presented to the commission
to review?
They will go through to the procurement division first and then to the commission. I'll make sure of that. Okay?
All right, anybody, anything else? All right, moving on, we're going to go to item D, the terrain tower lights.
Kobo, the company that's actually taking the tower down with the beacon's coming back to Fitchburg, so I'm going to keep it in the foyer there with the other one.
They're aware of that.
Oh, yeah, they definitely are. They actually said, do we have access to that any time? So I looked at the actual deeds that were done for that tower to be put up over 30, 40 years ago, and it actually says that the commission asked for a right-of-way. And the right-of-way still exists. We only found that out 2 days ago, and 2 days ago I got in touch with Kobo and said, look, you're good to go. You can go on there, there's a right-of-way there, and so hopefully by the end of next week we should have an answer on what the price is going to be.
Okay, so we're just waiting for him to
Kobo's
put together
a quote.
a quote sheet. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay?
All right, anybody else have anything like that? All right. Item E, minimum standards. I'm going to pass this over to you, Paul, and tell
Sounds
us
good.
where we stand right
Yeah, I have everybody's edits, and they're mostly incorporated. So what I hope to do, this next week will be difficult, but the week after, distribute that to Chairman Raymond and Peter, and then they can distribute that as fit. And if we think it's in good shape, maybe put that up for public comment. But certainly in the next 2 weeks, there'll be a pseudo-final draft.
So everyone who had questions came back to...
I have people's...
They've got their complete understanding
Yep.
of
Yep.
where we're going.
Yep.
I just want to add this on my own involvement. When we first started with the minimum standards, like Commissioner Raymond said, regarding that insurance issue, I think the only insurance that we were associated with, or more concerned about with, was that liability insurance for contractors coming in, working on planes, so they had to have that minimum of $1 million. Is that going to be in its own article?
Yeah, well,
Wait, no.
so the requirements for, depending on what type of operation you are. So remember, we slice the cake or the pizza, however you whatever analogy, into types of operations. So whether you're a big FBO or a big charter organization operating big turbine aircraft, there are totally different requirements for them than for FPA or for somebody just cleaning airplanes with a truck or somebody delivering catering, for instance. And so there are references to, within each subsection, there is a requirement for insurance, and it references that Appendix A at the back of the document. The beauty of that is that if we ever want to make changes to the insurance requirements, you don't have to crawl through the entire 60 pages. You just go to Appendix A.
Okay.
And what we did is at the end, for certain types of operations, which are very low impact, low risk, low liability, like banner towing or certain types of instruction, it's up to the discretion of the commission to set the required insurance, if any, right? Because I can fly my turbine airplane into Fitchburg Airport and park on the ramp, and I am not required to have insurance. There's no requirement. There's no state or federal requirement. So why would it be fair to require that of other operators, right, that are based here? So there's a lot of moving parts and levers in there. We can actually do the right thing. Obviously, if you have somebody selling fuel, flammables, they have employees, they have vehicles on the ramp, that's where it gets really interesting, and you want to protect the airport. That's the $5 million requirement. But for nonprofits and people doing very low impact, low risk operations, it's quite equitable.
So I can see as we advance, or as the minimum standards, you couldn't have quoted any better. minimum standings, just.
That's
you know,
right.
And that's what we're trying to keep this. We're not trying to make this huge technical document. It's minimum. It's
Yeah, that's-
just the bare necessities.
That is the answer
like
to the
that.
test. It is the minimum
Right.
standard.
So, you did have avenues of, as we progress, as we get, down the road, we don't have to redo this whole
Yeah, you don't have to
document.
keep coming back.
Because this has been a nightmare, and to finally have or see it within reach is very satisfying for me, for someone who's been on this commission for so many years. We've been dauntingly playing with this since, like, are you kidding me? It's minimum standards.
And I think there's like I said, I've ruthlessly borrowed from other airports minimum standards that are municipal airports.
Yeah.
That do or do not have FBOs that sell fuel. Perhaps they're the only entity that sells fuel. Perhaps they also allow FBOs to sell fuel. So there's so much consensus around the terminology and the rules. It just doesn't make sense to write the great American novel.
No, because
right? So
the first version I was looking at was so technical. I don't have a legal background, but I thought some lawyer, wrote this document out, and it's
No, you should be able to just, and the other thing that is specifically stripped out is agreements. So you don't bake into your minimum standards whatever you are negotiating with various operators and stakeholders, because every lease might be different, every commercial. So that the agreement with the restaurant might be different from
Right.
Rocking Horse Enterprises
Yep.
than with an FBO or with me or whoever. And so by stripping that out and saying these activities need to be governed by a contract or a lease or an agreement, but refer to that agreement, you keep the minimum standards, and you
Yeah.
also allow flexibility to negotiate whatever we're going to do that's best for the airport, right? You don't want the minimum standards to have, clauses in there that cover the snack vending machine in the lobby of the airport, right? You just want to check
understand,
that out.
yeah.
So I think we're getting there. Stay tuned.
So a good, solid draft, maybe next month or a month.
It's already in good shape. The only things that the real meat of the comments were defining what licenses and permits were required. There's some questions around insurance. There were some nits. There was one other issue too that I think Eric had some comments around. Mark Estabrook had some comments around definitions. But those are mostly done. So.
Good, beautiful. Everyone's satisfied.
Well, they haven't seen my edits yet, but I
Yeah.
assume that I have acted in the spirit. The other thing is it's really easy to read it quickly and assume there's a whole bunch of rules here. The right way to read it is actually read the definitions, figure out what your activity falls under so you can page through. Forget FBOs. I'm not a charter operation. I'm not an airline.
Yep.
Go to the
Right to
part
where
that
you-
applies to you.
Yep.
Read carefully through, but look at the carve-outs, look at the exceptions, there's lots of very reasonable outs baked into that, particularly for GA, particularly for right to repair, particularly for people that have airplanes that are not currently maintained by the maintenance providers on the airport. So if I have, a 1946 Luscombe, we've got a maintenance professionals that specialize in Cirrus. We've got one that specializes in Bonanzas. But I might not be able to get my airplane repaired there. So what if I need to bring somebody in? I'm stuck,
Yeah.
right? So there's all kinds of, they're not concessions, but they're easements is the proper term. They're easements to make life, reasonable for tenants.
No, it's definitely a document that's going to be very well accepted and workable for all parties involved. And I think that was our goal to start, to make sure that everyone on the airport where this document is geared to and who's involved in it, finds it an acceptable document, and that we're not trying to.
Well, yeah, we'll have the public comment
Yeah.
period. I don't know how many days that is.
I appreciate the hard work, definitely, that
Thank you.
you put into it.
Sure, I'm good at cut and paste.
All right.
Commissioner Raymond has appeared.
Yes, the Chairman is here, and he's going to have to wait till after
And
this
in
meeting.
conclusion, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Item F, Rocking Horse Enterprises Phase 1.
The thing that's holding everything up is the agreement, the legal agreement from our attorney. That legal agreement was put together based on the existing agreement that was basically a Sheffield's chairs and my input. And they did this, and it came back and then went to their attorney with the modifications on that they'd requested. So following that, the last thing is there was 6 items that they needed addressing before they were prepared to sign it. Those 6 items were really just common sense, basically. It didn't have to go to an attorney. But it went down. I sent it back to the attorney. They've done that, and they are now waiting for that document to be signed by them. And I spoke to Rockin Horse Enterprises CEO, and he said that he's going to have that back to us within the next couple of days, signed.
And that May 1st date is still looking
Yeah, there's nothing that's stopping it.
good.
Nothing that's
Is
stopping
there
it.
any chance the commission might see this document?
Oh, you'll definitely see it.
But before it's executed?
Well, I don't
After
know.
the what?
To see the lease before it's executed?
We could request it. Typically, when it gets this far and it gets to City Hall, it gets signed and away it goes.
Yeah, just as an academic curiosity, I mean,
Yeah.
there have been 4 consecutive meetings where I've asked to see a document with the airport's entering into an agreement.
Yeah.
Right? I'm an airport commissioner. I don't mean to be pedantic about this, but I've asked 4 times to see what we're getting into, and I really would like to see that.
Yeah, so typically that lease doesn't get changed from the time we say this is the lease.
I'm not looking to negotiate it or change it. I just am curious
Right.
what agreement
Right.
we're signing with a private enterprise.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to welcome Chair Raymond, who finally
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for filling in.
came in, and
Oh, he's 2x your speed, man.
he came in because this last item is probably one of the most valuable items on the agenda, and duly does need a full commission's thoughtfulness of this. But the after-hour bathroom facilities is still on as an issue. And did we come to a conclusion on that?
I took it upon myself to try and get something approved from the city.
Yep.
Bear in mind, the city works on a Munis system, which I'm sure you're familiar with, Daniel. No, it's the municipal system that every single city in North America works to. And it's old, it's antiquated, but they've just updated it, and there was a lot of problems with it. And to add another account to the Munis system is not easy. So I thought about this and came up with an idea that I'd like to propose to the Commission, right? We know that the Pilots Association and FACT want to pay for the unit. And at the last meeting, the chairman said that as the airport manager, I've got to pay for it as well. So it's going to be split into 3, okay? So I took the document that Mark Estabrook had got from Blue Waters, and it was $145.63 a month. I spoke to Blue Waters. They will still agree to this, even though they presented it to us last year. They'll still agree to that. And in order for me to get it pushed through and get it paid, I came up with a little letter that I'd like to read to everybody. And it would need a signature from you, from Mark, and from Chair Raymond, okay? Fitchburg Municipal Airport, 3/19/2025, Porta Potty. It was agreed at this Airport Commission meeting dated the 19th of March 2025 that the rental of a porta potty with a price of $145.63 per month from Blue Water Restrooms will be shared by the following 3 entities. the Fitchburg Municipal Airport, the Fitchburg Pilots Association, the Fitchburg Airport Condominium Trust. In order to do that, the only way I can do it is add that $48.55 onto your current monthly bill. Okay? So at the moment you pay something like $183 a month, so it would be $220 a month. And the same for FACT. Okay? So the individual price will be $48.55 per month, being 1/3 of the $145.63 on this date for 1 year going forwards. It was further agreed that this $48.55 will be added to the current land lease rent for both the Fitchburg Pilots Association and also the Fitchburg Airport Condominium Trust on a monthly basis. As and when the price for the porta potty increases, this will be discussed and agreed at the monthly commission meeting in which the price increase takes place. And then I've got signed Fitchburg Municipal Airport, Rich Raymond, signed Fitchburg Airports Pilots Association, Daniel Walton, signed Fitchburg Airport Condominium Trust, Mark Estabrook. So for me, it's a done deal, so can you sign it, please? Unless anybody's got any problems with that.
Will it show up as a separate line item? Or
No, it'll just go straight on to the bill.
Yeah.
$48.55.
48.
Does that have any tax implications or anything for us?
Can't do it as a separate line item. I discussed it with, the city auditor, and she said, yes, that's perfect.
Right.
So they can do it.
Money's not a problem. We've all agreed to that.
No, I understand.
Conceptually, I'm quite happy signing it. I think we just need to double check on whether there's any problem to do with accounting and charities and what we file.
As a non-profit.
As a non-profit, I don't imagine.
I don't think so.
But it's sort of like akin to a land lease anyway. It's like a facilities lease, right, almost. It's just an extension thereof, I would think.
Yeah. I don't know. Do I just sign it?
It's a 1 year term, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So the amount of risk is very small.
So if we don't continue that for the year, then that comes off the rent then.
Well, if you want to continue with the porta potty, it'll be on the rent, continuing. But
It increases after the year.
it may do.
Yes.
It may do.
Right. Because also when it comes to calculating the what's now capped at 2.2% increase,
That's CPIU.
we just need to make sure we're not doing 2.2 on the total.
Exactly.
And that's why I was curious about
Yeah.
It's two line items.
Yeah.
It's simple calculated that
Yeah.
way.
Now, not to throw the hand grenade in the room here, but does this also represent the conclusion of the dispute with the FPA over the areas surrounding their hangar? Because remember, the commission had asked Daniel to go away and, do the carrot stick analysis of what they could do for the airport to alleviate the concerns about the perceived non-payment for the ramp area in front of their hangar. So I think if we enter into this agreement, I'd also like it to specify that their lease is whole, and this is the end of that as an agenda item.
I agree with you on that one, yeah. I thought that was the direction we were going.
Right, it was a kind of a
That
quid
if
pro
they
quo.
got involved with this,
So is that
we would oversee.
consideration?
I'm sorry.
Is that a motion you're proposing?
Yeah, I would make a motion that if the FPA is entering into this agreement with the city, it also represents settlement of the concern around rents owed for their leased space.
Putting that in the form of a motion.
Yeah.
Okay. So Commissioner Hathaway has made the motion that the involvement, the fee that the Fitchburg Pilots Association is going to pay for the porta potty will relinquish any questions that we had regarding the ramp, any area around your hangar that we thought you weren't duly paying your rate.
While the current lease is in
Sure.
effect.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So, we have a second on that?
Acting Chair, before you make a vote, please.
Yep.
I do not think that one has any relationship to the other. We're satisfying what the FAA require on whatever land is there, whatever rent is there, has nothing to do with the porta potty. I don't think the FAA would accept what you're trying to propose. That's a personal opinion. I can check it out for the next meeting, but I do not think that would affect it.
That's what we concluded at the last meeting. That was our decision. So we're reversing course on that, 180? We seem to do this quite a bit, like we come to some kind of consensus, and then it's like we're back to the square one again at the next meeting. So I'd like some kind of continuity of thought here.
Yeah, I thought that was the direction.
It was
we
resolved,
were
and
headed.
the action was for Daniel to go away and come back with the things that he would be willing to add value to the airport. And I consider the porta potty to be one of those things.
I think the action actually was twofold. One was on the chair, and one was on me to say what three things or whatever could we think about in lieu of an increase could we come up with. And certainly, we mentioned it briefly at our board of directors meeting. We weren't thinking of too many other things. You know, we kind of standing our ground a little bit on we have a lawful lease. We're not in violation of any FAA terms. The FAA allows for the fact that different entities at an airport may be charged differently, but entities at an airport that are alike should be billed alike or similarly. And so whatever applies, say, to Twin City doesn't apply to a charity, to us, to somebody else.
May or may not apply.
May or may not apply. So in our reading of it, and the EA attorney's reading of it, we don't think there's any concern whatsoever. We have a lawful lease. And we understand you might want to charge us more money, but a lawful lease is signed with the city, and it stands until the court overturns it, or we can choose to.
It's not in violation of the FAA requirements because it's still based on, it's not based on tie downs, right? It's based on space, which is their requirement. Whether or not there's additional land that they're getting as part of that, I don't think the FAA would look in that detail, would they?
I talked to the FAA, talked to the EAA, and we don't think there's any issue.
And to put in perspective, what was the total dollar amount that was allocated to that front ramp area? Wasn't it like $17 a month?
It wasn't much.
So I mean, everybody's time is valuable here. I know we're public servants, but we have to put in perspective that every meeting we talk about $17.
If you guys were actually paid for your position, we would spend more.
Yeah, I mean,
just discussing.
the FAA's concern, and I want to frame this in its correct perspective. The FAA's concern is when you give away whole tranches of the airport to build, for instance, a water treatment facility, hypothetically speaking, or when you take grant money and then you build a housing subdevelopment. That is the issue. They're not. This is just a red herring, in my opinion.
Chair Raymond, did you have a comment?
I do.
Can I read out the minutes?
I'm sorry?
Can I read the minutes of what it said at the last meeting?
If you'd like.
Paul's alluding to it. After hours bathroom facility, Chair Raymond explained that the airport needed $2,400 to fund a porta potty, but at this time the city does not have these funds available. Chair Raymond suggested that it might be time for a motion from the Commission to either pay for the porta potty in full, in half, a third, or possibly not at all. Commissioner Hathaway presented a motion that the airport contracts to provide an after-hours porta potty somewhere in the vicinity of the self-service fuel farm for transient and other base pilots. Thank you. With the cost being split three ways between the FPA, the FACT and the airport, subject to approval from members of both the FPA and FACT. Costs would not exceed $1,200 per party. It's going to be $45. Chair Raymond seconded the motion. All in favour, 4-0. There was nothing concerning taking away the rent for the ramp in front of the hangar or the path that comes down to the main area. Nothing.
So I was going to say, I would be a no vote on Paul's motion because to tie in a quid pro quo, if you will, for the porta potty, third of the porta potty, in lieu of saying, don't worry about the ramp in front of your hangar, I think is just a bad practice. And this is a one-year, commitment, and they have a 2020-10 lease or 2025 or whatever it is. So I would be against that motion. As far as talking about the land lease, if I recall, I spoke of future land leases need to be tidier than the ones we've had in the past, to include side entrances, rear entrances, and whatever ramp space may be between the hangar door and the actual taxiway, or I don't remember if we called it a ramp or a tarmac, or I guess it would be an apron between your hangar and the taxiway would be an apron. That and the future leases need to be addressed up front.
We weren't involved in their negotiating when this.
We were not, and I'm not.
So,
Again, I'm finding it almost impossible to fix a lease once it's written.
Right.
That's why you have a lease. So I understand in the mechanics of what Paul's saying. It's like, hey, we're going to be doing the potty. Well, the city's doing $45 for the porta potty too. What are we getting out of it? So if that motion's on the floor, I'm a no. But
I hear what you're saying, and I understand the reason for the church and state separation. But perhaps it better framed if I'm just trying to understand what's the motivation for FPA if they're going to continue to spend time and energy on consultations with attorneys regarding their lease, and we're going to have Matt involved and keep shaking this frankly non-issue like a dog with a toy over $17 a month.
But right now, the lease is what it is.
And it was recently renewed, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your point about greater due care and attention when leases are executed is well taken. And I think an appendix, per the document Peter sent, which is the minimum standards for leases, so to speak, or agreements, that should possibly be added as Appendix B to the min standards, right? Like any contract we execute needs to think about these things more cautiously. But if I was wearing Daniel's shoes, they're going to take on some costs associated with providing a service at the airport that benefits the airport, right? And and then as a separate issue, we're going to keep going down this road of their land lease. There has to be some way to resolve them, either wholly or separately.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Raymond. I think they should be separate issues. Now, looks like we're going to go forward with the porta potty. That's all good. Now, the lease itself, like I said, it's an existing lease. Unless we are going to make an active motion to attempt to change it midstream or have some, major reason to do so, I think we should just table that going forward. And when it renews, like you said, we put the documentation in place for new leases and renewals to conform to certain requirements, and we'll address it at that point. It's not worth spending the effort on rehashing this all the time. We're not going to gain anything from it. They're not going to really lose anything.
I understand what Chair Raymond is saying, that, and also Peter Kettle, when we negotiate all these new possible land leases coming up, we've got to be so much more attentive to the property around it. It's not the footprint of the building, it's the property that they might be wanting to use after the fact. But again, I can't say enough of the work that the Pilots Association does for the airport. And again, $17, but how long are we going to beat this up? I'm not, I can't rightly say that, yeah, I'm going after that 17, and I don't care what the Pilot Association does in the future, you owe that to us. I can't do it. It was a lease that was put together before I was even on the commission, before any of us were. It's a done deal. Moving forward, as Chair Raymond says, is yes, now we're a lot more aware of how we should be presenting in approaching a land lease.
Yep.
So perhaps there's an order to this then. So perhaps if I make a motion that the FPA lease issue is dropped and we just exercise better due diligence going forward for renewals and new leases, and that agenda item is parked, not to be revisited in the near future or until renewal.
Until renewal.
And then if we pass that motion, separate issue, cost sharing on the bathroom. Does that make sense?
It makes better sense.
Yep.
So your point's well taken. So I make a motion that the commission is satisfied with the current lease with the Fitchburg Pilots Association. That agenda item will be dropped going forward. We'll just use more care when we do renewals and we do new leases. As you know, we've got new buildings coming up. There's a perfect opportunity to sharpen our pencil on that. But that agenda item will not reappear. And we're satisfied with their lease as is until renewal.
We should look at the lease as it stands.
I will second that.
See if there's any changes.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Hathaway and a second by Commissioner Takal to move forward and not bring up this issue again. Can I have a vote?
Could you just clarify, what agenda item are we addressing?
Well, I guess that would be the land lease agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Going back to B,
Going back to-
old business number B, the FPA land.
Okay.
the FBA land lease agreement.
Oh, okay. I'm in favor of that motion.
All right.
Okay. Aye.
Aye.
Passes.
The bathroom issue,
Second. Now. Perfect. Excellent.
the bathroom issue, we're okay with.
If, it seems like we have to have a signed
FACT and
document
FMEA have to both agree
Yes.
that this is going to be an additional
fee.
charge,
Yeah.
not a line item, additional charge for the next year, no less.
Right.
Maybe not more, I don't know.
I think it's fabulous, and I think Peter
For
putting
the
this
third
together
of whatever lease, whatever rent they've,
Well, that was what we approved at the last meeting, right?
it was a matter of how we were going to bill it.
Yep, it just says, conditional on the agreement with the organizations. So,
Yeah.
Peter, if it's okay with you, I'll take the documents like I'll mark.
Oh, there's three, because you're all going to sign them, so there's three together. Do you want to take all three?
I only want the marking myself.
Yeah, but you've got to sign on all three,
Oh, sorry.
there's
yes,
one
a
each.
copy, yes.
right?
Yes, so I'll take all three. We'll sign them and return them to you.
Well, I'll tell you, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
send
you.
one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for making that happen.
Oh, of course.
Everybody have,
Do you know where you think you want to put it?
I think it should go next to the self-serve fuel farm. I think it should go towards the 2-0
Yes.
ramp,
Yes.
right? Or taxiway, sorry. Right just there on that
Because you can
side.
see it from just about anywhere in the airport
Right.
at that position.
Right.
And this is the one that has hand washing facilities, or is it just a basic?
I think that's the basic one
Basic.
that Mark actually asked for.
Yeah.
So,
it's in a well-lit
But I mean-
area, right?
sorry?
It's in a lit
Yeah, when
area?
you walk up there, the lights come on.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
And the company was Blue Waters?
Blue Waters, yeah, that's it. That's the quote.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that. That's huge.
I have another organization that spends $250 for a weekend for one. So
I'm glad we're able to take care of both those issues.
Mackerel.
field day.
Yeah, right. That's
I think that we, the land lease agreement is
With them, and now you come.
right in line to what we really wanted.
Yep.
And we took care and addressed this after bathroom facility. And again, it's going to be so much valuable for the people at the airport and our visiting pilots, so it worked out good. All right, if no one has anything else to add, we're going to move on to the financial review.
Yes, please. I have two abatements. One is to abatement number 3 for customer Cornerstone Aviation. If you remember, when we took the Hangar 1 away, because they weren't paying the bills, we got all the money for Hangar 1.
Yep.
But the city kept on billing them.
Oh.
And basically, it's not a lot. It's just the interest that had accrued on it. And it's $79.54. And that's for 2 years at that, 1.5% per month, giving the 18%.
Did they not,
So-
did the city not get the notice on that?
Yeah, they did. But people make mistakes, and, I told them, and I said, so, Rich, can you sign that one, please? And the other one is for customer Pablo Hotman. He actually moved out of building number 13, and it was $323.93 a month, but he never actually went in there. He put the plane in, and he didn't like it, and he took it straight out. So he hadn't paid the bill, but he was still invoiced for it, and this is it plus the interest. So we haven't had the money, we've never charged him anything, so it wasn't...
And he never
wasn't
used it?
necessary. He never used it, no.
All right.
So,
All right, thank you, Peter.
okay.
All right, we're going to move into executive session.
We have to make a
We
motion.
have a roll call to move into executive session.
Thank you.
Eric?
So we have to make a motion to enter executive session? Is
No,
that
I don't
correct?
think so. I think we just have to agree.
I don't think it was just a roll call.
It is a roll call, and you have to declare whether you're coming back into public session.
Yeah, we're going to leave the regular meeting and go into executive session.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And we'll end
Take care.
the meeting after the executive session has been completed. Roll call, members?
Commissioner Takala? Yes?
Paul Hathaway, yes.
Clayton Raymond, yes.
Richard Vittori, yes. All right, so we'll leave the regular meeting.
Yep. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
You too. Bye now.
Bye.
All right, and
Is Matt joining us for this?
Yes.
Oh,
As soon as he bangs it, I'll get him.
Perfect.